Hi guys, so my name is Eric, and so far my YouTube channel has been filled with music covers. But besides being a musician, I also happen to be an avid fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's a scene in the episode Bitter Work from Book 2 where Iroh teaches Zuko the importance of drawing wisdom from different places and different people. And I realized that that very concept can be applied in our day-to-day lives. I believe no matter who you meet, a 100-year-old or a 12-year-old, someone rich or poor, educated or uneducated, they have something that they can teach you. In fact, it is that very diversity of perspective and experience that makes it so valuable. Using this very concept, I will be analyzing characters throughout the Avatar series and seeing what lessons we can take away from their stories. I'm going to start off the series by analyzing the struggles of the main protagonist, Aang. He's a 12-year-old boy, premature avatar, and destined to stop the Fire Lord and save the world. And the main lesson that he teaches us is procrastination is, well, A-okay. After learning that he was the Avatar, he ran away, froze himself in an iceberg, and had to face his fate 100 years later. Waking up with less than a year to fulfill his destiny, the panic begins to set in. However, at the end of the day, he is still able to accomplish what he was destined to do, in a badass way. Not only was Aang a master of the 4 elements, but he was also a master of procrastination. The creators of the show, Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, must have put this in to reflect the nature of airbenders and air nomads, their philosophy of dodging things that come their way and seeking the path of least resistance. I believe that Aang is a stellar role model on how we should procrastinate more in our day-to-day lives. Just kidding! But even though I still believe that Aang is a stellar role model on how to procrastinate more in your day-to-day life, I believe the main lesson we can take away from his story is how to deal with loss. Aang has undoubtedly dealt with the greatest loss compared to all the other characters in the show. Sokka and Katara lost their mother. Iroh lost his one and only son. And Zuko lost his honor. But Aang lost his mentor, his friends, his entire civilization and culture. Everything and everyone he knew ceased to exist. I believe that it is important to mention that we are given a glimpse of his loss by the 3rd episode of the series. At this point of the show, Katara has already mentioned that no one has seen an airbender for 100 years, implying that they have all been wiped out. When they arrive at the Southern Air Temple, we see the entire place abandoned. And by the end of the episode, we see Monk Gyatso's carcass amongst the dead bodies of Fire Nation soldiers. This is no doubt the greatest loss in the entire series. Now, the loss Aang felt about the air nomads was irreversible, in the past, and totally out of his control. But not all loss is like that. In Book 2, Aang is faced with a different sort of loss, when Appa is taken away by the Sandbenders. In this scenario, he first reacts with pure anger and rage, yelling at Toph, yelling at Katara, yelling at the Sandbenders, well, a lot of yelling. His frustration becomes a huge burden to his friends, especially in the middle of the desert. His anger and frustration grows to the point where he becomes the gang's biggest threat. Realizing how destructive his actions were, he then decides to block out all of his emotions, as we see in the episode The Serpent's Pass. Both of these reactions aren't productive ways to deal with loss. However, it's natural for us to feel that way. It isn't until the birth of the new baby did Aang center his emotions, and he sums up what he learns in this line. I thought I was trying to be strong, but really, I was just running away from my feelings. Seeing this family together, so full of happiness and love, it reminded me of how I feel about Appa. In 2 episodes, we see 2 extreme reactions on how to deal with such a great loss. These reactions can happen to us, and it's important to recognize when we've gone too far. More importantly, we need to remember to accept help from those around us. In both of these scenarios, whether irreversible loss or not, it is the people loving him and supporting him that gets him through the rough times. In the episode The Guru, Aang opens his fourth chakra, which deals with love and is blocked by grief. Guru Patik explains that love is a form of energy that never leaves but simply changes from one form to another. Back to the third episode we talked about earlier, where Aang realizes what has happened to the air nomads. Katara was the one who was able to calm him down by saying this: Monkey Otso and the other airbenders may be gone, but you still have a family. Sokka and I, warrior family now, is exactly what the Guru was referring to. Even though it's not every day that someone in our lives passes away, the same ideology can be used when you're leaving someone who is close to you, whether it's because you're moving to another school, another city, or maybe even another country. It is important to balance the value of that old relationship while establishing new relationships wherever life brings you. It is the ability to create new relationships wherever you go that will help you cope with losing your old one.